Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Post Conference Presser for Anfield Index. The games keep coming thick and fast, don't they, people? What are we now? We're Tuesday, the 16th of September, and in just over 24 hours' time, Liverpool will take the field for their Champions League opener against Atletico Madrid. And I've got to be honest, when I'm under the lights at Anfield and that music starts, all right, yeah, you wait for, of course, get booed and their scumbags and all that. But when that anthem starts with the whole, "These are the champion," it kicks in, doesn't it? I am really excited for this one. I'm not going to even mince my words on it. Really looking forward to it. Top level European football back at Anfield for another season as we chase number 7. Just it's different when you say that, doesn't it? I'm your host, Dave Davis, coming to you from, tell you what, the sun has taken off in Edinburgh right now. Probably blinding me. It might be blinding you coming through the screen, although it's lying because it's raining at the same time. But hopefully, wherever you are in the world, it is looking good. And speaking of looking good, because normally when we do post-conference presser, people, I talk about the Q&As. Of course, I'll talk about that, the lessons from the last game and all that, the normal threats. I'm going to start a little bit differently this week, and I'm not going to mince my words on it at all. This green kit, this green training kit, this green match day top, this green look, zip jacket, hoodies, training, warm weather gear, anything with this green, highly erotic, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, look at that photo of Mo Salah there in this green training kit. By the way, I don't even think Liverpool are wearing green tomorrow. They'll be at home, aren't they? They'll be in red, but fair play. Let's just wear this green kit and the training stuff all year round. But look at how good that looks. How good does Alexander Isak in that training kit look? Absolutely brilliant. And just Alexander Isak in full team training. Because we got spoilers of this, didn't we? It was about 12:30 at the Axe of the Open training today, as per standard for the Champions League. So that looked grand. And speaking of looking great, the skipper. How good does he look in the training top? Seriously, Adidas might as well just take my money, to be honest, the way it's working at the moment. All this training gear is just, is it? And it might be me. I think it's the best kit we've ever had. The best train. And so someone's going to correct me on this and give me it was XYZ. But off the top of my head, I can't remember anything better. But anyway, post-conference presser, we'll talk about, like we normally do, the Q's and A's we start with. And a bit different this time because it's Champions League. We get a player as well, don't we? We get VVD. Of course, he's going to start because sometimes you look at this and think, who's Slot going to put up? It might give us a clue of who will start, something we knew anyway. But they were in grand form, VVD, Arne Slot. So the first thing I'm going to play you is a clip where Virgil, and look at that training top as well. We've already seen just how good all this stuff looks. But Virgil talking about the new signings for a minute or so. Let's have a listen to what he said.
The club is in a great place, and it gives them, the opportunity to express themselves as quickly as possible.
As a captain, how excited have you been with all the players that have come in this summer, and how long does it take to gel when you have got game after game after game? Now you won't have as much training time now.
Well, hopefully as quickly as possible, and I'm definitely delighted with all the players, the quality that we have brought in. But it takes time. It's absolutely normal. They're in a good place. I think to be here with us as a team, it's a great place to be. The club is in a great place, and it gives them, the opportunity to express themselves as quickly as possible. Obviously, when I joined the club as well, you want to feel welcomed as quickly as possible, so you can express yourself in the best way possible on the pitch, especially because that's what counts, of course, but off the pitch as well. And I think that's definitely been happening.
Too right, that's been happening. And there was a lot of this press conference focused on new signings, as you'll hear. Florian Wirtz was asked about, Kirkes to Arne Slot as well. So we'll get into that. But as Virgil was talking about there, they've got to be given time to settle. There does just seem to be this, I don't know what it is, underlying impatience or people really starting to question things. It is a quality we are going to have to learn with this team this season, that new players, new systems, new culture, all those types of things come into the mix. But with all that being said, people, we're 4 for 4. We've got 12 points from 12 points in the Premier League. And in the Champions League, I am intrigued to see how these players will get on. Is it a physical element? Is it something different? But they were being backed by the captain and by the manager. I'll only give you another snippet, if you want, of what Virgil was talking about. So the first thing he, as well as talking about the new signings, the second thing he got to was the Champions League. And can Liverpool lift number 7? This is what he said. Get ready for a few chills. When I signed my deal, I would hope to win everything I'm going to participate in. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately, as you face so many great teams. I'm confident we can show Europe that we are a fantastic team, but you have to work for it. Of course, you have to work for it, but it's a shame. And I would always say with these press conferences, as I say every time, watch them, get a feel for them that way. But there was confidence in his delivery as well. You could tell Virgil really believes what this team could achieve this season. He was bullish in the way he said it. Again, there's always come through the tone in the words. So keep that in mind. And we should be confident. There's some great sides in this competition. I mean, some great sides. We all know who they are. But Liverpool's Champions League campaign begins tomorrow night. And I don't have any shame in saying this. I'm massively excited for it. I genuinely can't wait for this one. So there was other little, how would I put it, tidbits from Virgil, but the head coach, Arne Slot, came to the stage here. And he was honest and talked about a few things that he was asked about the season so far. And he said, we are far above our expectations in the summer. We all know what happened this summer, and we all know our schedule at the start. For us to be on 12 points now is so much more than I expected, having had so many changes in our group. I love the way they're flicking this, and Mo Salah comes into this as well. Arne Slot talking about the changes and, keep your expectations in mind that way. Mo Salah been talking about Arsenal being his favourites for the title as well because of the lack of changes they've made. They're all singing from the same hymn sheet as well. And actually, that message he's sending, we should be positive as well. 12 points now is more than I expected. Probably the way we played, it's more than we've expected as well. But it is a really positive start. We shouldn't dismiss this at all. And of course, Arne Slot was asked about the Champions League format because we know he wasn't happy with winning the group table or whatever it's called last season and ending up having to play PSG of all teams in the last 16. So this is what he said when he was asked about, the format and how it all works. What I don't like is that you have teams in pot 4 who can have easier games than pot 1. Teams don't all play each other in the league phase. If you'd asked me after the PSG defeat, I'd say forget about the first 8 games. Now I'll use my brain and see what it's like after 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I'm not really sure there's a massive semblance to or a benefit to this new format, this new draw. I think you just kind of end up a little bit with what you end up, don't you? And you have to be honest, last season, as Arne Slot said before, there was no real benefit to finishing top, was there? Maybe we're just of the ilk that as long as you finish in the top 8, isn't it? So you don't have to play the extra qualifying game and don't have those two more fixtures on your schedule. That's what you should aim to do. And then what happens from there happens from there. Maybe that's the way to look at it. However, they always say win every game. And this was important, as a few people have mentioned earlier today. Every Champions League victory is approximately £2.1 million worth to the club. So all that goes into the mix at the same time as well, especially if we've all got our versions of another big summer as well and buying players. And he was asked, of course, about players he's bought galore. So Alexander Isak, what did he say on this? Of course, he'd spoken on this before Burnley, but he said there's definitely a chance. He's in the squad. I'm 100% sure he won't play 90 minutes. We say he was on good form here, Arne Slot. Now, we had mentioned in the previous, wasn't press conference, was it? Sorry, it was before Burnley. He had mentioned quite clearly that, it'll be likely 45 minutes against Atletico or the derby. I really don't know for this one. And even when I select my lineup, I'm still swithering about whether or how much even Isak will play. But I would be astonished if we didn't see him tonight or tomorrow night. Sorry, I know that's a double negative. Deep block, Atletico Madrid, maybe. Just a bit slower than a Premier League game as well, a different nature of game. So I do think we're going to see Isak for some minutes tomorrow night. Who we're definitely not going to see? Curtis Jones is out of this still. And we were waiting for an update. And we got an update, which I think you've got to look as positive, because he wasn't in the squad. Or he's not going to be, in the squad for Atletico. However, Arne Slot was clear, people. Curtis should be back for the next game. And in fact, he's going to train with the group tomorrow. So Curtis Jones has got a chance of being in the squad for Everton, which, can't believe I'm saying this, touch wood, fingers crossed, and pray to baby Jesus and all the orphans, would give us a full collective, wouldn't it? Touch wood. We'll have to see on that. Did talk about Milos Kerkez as well in the left-back situation. You knew this would come up. And what did he say about Sunday and taking him off early? He said, he started well, but we had to take him off. And it's such a nice thing. You have Andy Robertson who can come on and play like nothing has happened. It's good to have him in the squad, that's for sure. I get why people did this. And I've seen people, try and make more of this, I think, than is, and say, well, look what happened to Kwanzaa after he came off. No, this was just smart management. He was on a yellow. He could have got another one. It all worked out well in the end. And in fact, I'm that confident of that. I think Kerkez will be in the lineup tomorrow. So giving you a bit of a spoiler alert for when I come to that bit. Of course, he was asked about Florian Wirtz, and this is where we get some of the juiciest content, I would say. There's so much focus on Florian, but those who are already here haven't scored 4 goals or had 12 assists. Florian has been part of a team that's won at Newcastle and at home to Arsenal, which we didn't do last season. He is part of a team that is top of the league at the moment. I get it to an extent. This is a £100 million signing who is bedding in a new team, new players, all those types of things. Of course, there's going to be a hyper focus on Florian Wirtz. Of course, people are going to look at things and like, is he set, physical, all the things that you have named, I have named, with no doubt everyone has talked about. However, as Arne Slot said, the whole attack, well, he didn't use these words, but the whole attack's a little disjointed right now, isn't it? Let's be completely honest. There's not a fluidity to our attacking move. Quite often, we're relying on individual brilliance, aren't we? Yeah, to do that. So until Florian Wirtz gets a goal, assist, a big moment, this is going to keep coming up. But as Arne Slot said, he's in the team that's winning all the time at the moment. Touch wood, because I think he'll start tomorrow. He is the same for that. Love this as well. Did praise Dominic Szoboszlai. I was asked about this, and there was a bit more, but look at that for a quote. If we sold Dominic Szoboszlai tomorrow, he would be worth 100 million as well. Well, I don't like saying things like that because the Hungarian Valverde has been absolutely sensational so far this season, hasn't he? Whether it's a midfield role, whether it's a right back, whether it's pinging in free kicks against Arsenal. Absolutely brilliant Szoboszlai has been. And yeah, he is worth 100 million, probably more as well. But he's not going anywhere. Good to see he was getting lauded. Now, speaking of transfers and different bits, again, I would recommend you watch the clips fully, but there were some brilliant things he said. And I just like the photo, if you can see it there on social media, of who this is. Because he was asked about Liverpool's big summer spending, the big summer, etc. And he said, there are some pundits who can't stop talking about the 450 million we spent, but they always forget the 300 million we sold for. They don't forget it, to be honest. Let's not pretend. They're just choosing to ignore it. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that we are the best. At worst, one of the best run football clubs in world football, easily in the Premier League. Us and Brighton probably fighting it out, although people will talk about trophies and all that. So at the top level, we are incredibly well run. We make sales as well. That's what Arne Slot said the other day. Yeah, spending equals success and sales. I just like the fact of who he was clearly alluding to there. Quite funny. And this was my favourite line when he was also asked about it. This is how he started it. I think he has been listening to a lot of TalkSport, the Gammons, the nonsense head themselves. Arne Slot ends them with a line, basically, doesn't he? But honestly, a brilliant press conference from Arne Slot and Virgil van Dijk. Just even more excited ahead of tomorrow. And we look back, as we do, maybe you're trying to forget it a little bit, to the recent game, the win against Burnley, and what lessons we take from that. Tell you what lessons we take from that. Let's go positive. Another clean sheet. Virgil and Ibu, absolutely sensational in that one. Don't think there's any arguing. And in front of them, Ryan Gravenberch, probably man of the match. Some real, still positives in this. A lot of big chances created. And just funny, isn't it, that with what Hannibal did to get the victory. I do get other things that we're going to say. That Kirkes, a bit rash, you could factor into. The lack of cohesion between the forward line. Not getting Mo into the midst as often as we should. And, his shot volume going, cratering to the floor. I get all those types of things you would say. Yeah? But let's not be too harsh. Remember, the ultimate thing for me on this Burnley lesson is Liverpool are now the only club in the Premier League. And I don't care for people who say City because they've not proven they can still do this. Go right to the wire and win it. That is a unique quality the champions have, and don't be underselling it for 1 single second. I know there was things we could talk about in the negative, but we've analysed Burnley to death. Let's take the positives forward. And let's take the positives forward because we are facing a team that, if you're honest, will probably sit in. Diego Simeone, who I'm sure you've all seen the video with Arne Slot. I'm not saying the bosom buddies. I'm not saying the mortal enemies either. But, I just wonder, because things stick in Arne Slot's memory, don't they? Like a Nottingham Forest defeat. And I wonder if a Diego Simeone confrontation sits there at the same time. Probably not. But you look at Atletico and you know how they set up. Not the best of starts for them. 1 win in 4, scored 5, shipped 4. So only 5 points, 11th place. Very early doors, of course, but 11th place they sit. And you look at some of their stars. Probably the biggest news, if you've not seen it, that came out from the day. Julian Alvarez, a player we would have liked, of course, and were linked with, has not travelled with the Atletico party. So he's not going to play tomorrow night, which, will come to what Arne Slot said very shortly. In fact, do you know what? Let's bring it up now. He said they've done so well in La Liga over so many years under Diego Simeone. They've been able to win the league and get to the final of the Champions League twice. It's a difficult team to face because of their mentality. And it is their craziness, their fighting spirit, their organisation, all those things that go into their mentality, which could well make this an ugly game. When we talk about threats, that's it. That they could just play in the nature, and they are good at it. Let's not pretend for 1 second. They got some great results in Europe, if you look back last season as well, with this style. It's good that Alvarez is out for us. Not that you want players to get injured. And funnily enough, I think it's like the only career injury he had, as people are flagging repeatedly. Some famous names, though. Griezmann. He'll play in this one. Koke, we know. Lenglet, a player that was at Villa and Spurs, I think, if I'm right, unless someone's going to correct me. Yeah. Robin Lemormond should be fit. We'll hear it as well. Marcus Llorente. So, yeah, there's some threats in this team, but ultimately, the way they play, the way they set up, they can hurt you. They really can hurt you with all this, especially on the break. Yeah. But even with that being said, people, we'll talk as ever about what we think the lineup, score and scorers will be. And I think some's a given. You know, like Alisson's going to be in net. Van Dijk and Canate are going to play at centre-back. I am thinking, personally, that Milos Kerkez keeps the starting berth. It's hard to say he kept his place when he's holed off after 37 minutes in those circumstances. But I honestly think Milos Kerkez is going to keep the starting berth, which then brings to right back, because Dominic Szoboszlai started against Burnley, but then Connor Bradley shifted in. I think Bradley will start this one. I do. I do think it'll be Bradley right back, Kerkez left back, and those two in the middle. That is honestly what I'm thinking. In terms of in the midfield, Florian Wirtz is going to play the 10. I know people will like to maybe move left, but I think Wirtz is going to be in the 10. Gravenberch, of course, is going to play. How good was he on the weekend? Which leaves one more position, doesn't it? And I just wonder if, and based on what Arne Slot said after the game and the need to manage the minutes of Alexis McAllister, I do think Dominic Szoboszlai will be in the double pivot. That's honestly what I think. I think Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Wirtz. That's your midfield three. That is what I am honestly going for. And shout out to Grizz there saying smash the likes. Do indeed, guys. Obviously, throw in your comments if you think I'm smoking something crazy when I'm suggesting that midfield and defence, but that is what I'm going for. It's probably this that we're swithering over, isn't it? It's the Champions League, a competition of kings, so a king starts on the right-hand side. End of story. It's the other two positions, isn't it? It's not been scintillating exactly, shall we say, from Cody Gakpo recently. But I still think he'll be on the left-hand side. That is what I'm going. And actually, I think everyone keeps their positions. I think Hugo Ekitike will start as well. I'm not saying that in a bad sense. That's three quality operators there. It's more that I get you'll be thinking it's looked a little bit disjointed recently, hasn't it? But maybe in a Champions League, Anfield under the lights, it may change different. But that's me. Alisson Becker in goal. Connor Bradley right back. Kerkez keeps the berth at left back. Virgil Nibu in the centre of defence. In the double pivot, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch I'm going with Florian Wirtz in the 10. And then the attacking lineup of Mo Salah right, Cody Gakpo left, Hugo Ekitike in the middle. And of course, this is important to say, Isak will come on at some point. How long? I don't know. It might well depend on the game, but Alexander Isak is coming on at some point. Alexis McAllister will come on at some point. Maybe Andy Robbo comes on at some point as well. We'll have to see, won't we? In terms of predictions, flipping heck. Atletico will bring more dark arts than Dumbledore and Voldemort to this, won't they? They will just literally be diving, spoiling, trying to disrupt the whole thing. Even with that being said, I can't get this scoreline out of my head. And it's just what my gut is telling me, as well as, heart and head job. 2-0. That's what I'm thinking in this. 2-0. And maybe this is just total heart speaking. The big sexy up top scoring one. Alexander Isak to net on his debut for Liverpool. A 2-0 victory. That is what I'm going for. And to be honest, with Curtis Jones back in training tomorrow as well, a win, no injuries to start the Champions League campaign is what we're looking for. Because maybe we just continue this run as the Devils Club and not playing that well, but winning it late every time. As long as we win and no injuries, that will do me. But prediction-wise, yeah, 2-0, Alexander Isak to bag. That is what I'm going. Feel free to disagree in the chat panel. Feel free to disagree with the lineup. Throw any of your thoughts in there. Listen, it is Tuesday. Most of you are probably just finishing work if you're in the UK. Do you know what? If you're anywhere else in the world, sod it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Grab a drink, grab whatever. Have a relax, and listen. There's games tonight as well, isn't there? Arsenal are in the mix. To some of us, do you know what? Who really cares? The Reds are in it and start their campaign tomorrow night. Anfield under the lights. But on Tuesday, the 16th of September, that, ladies and gents, was a post-conference presser for Anfield Index.